Welcome back to TERRA at Home. We're at Eccles Auto Service in Dundas. I'm here with Jeff Taylor, and thanks for letting us into your shop.
No problem. Thanks
Talking
for coming.
about some very important car care tips, and you know, obviously we're focusing on women here, but they apply to everybody. And it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, you need to take care and pay attention to your vehicle. We're so used to just hopping in and going, and things start to go.
They do, and they happen slowly over time, but a lot of people do neglect their cars, especially in the winter, because nobody wants to be outside.
Exactly, you take it for granted, and like having to stop and just even fill up the tire pressure, or check your tire pressure, right?
Check your tire pressure, and it's really, really important, and we got a couple of examples here as to why it's so important, okay?
Yes.
If you've got a funny wobble in the steering wheel, or you're feeling a funny vibration, or the low tire light's on, and a lot of people drive around with the low tire light glowing. We got a tire here that's been completely destroyed.
Look at that.
This one's got a giant bulge in it, and these came off of cars that were on the road.
Wow.
So it is very important. Okay.
Yep.
That explodes on the highway, you lose your steering.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the scary part. And we hear about it and see shreds of tire on the highways all the time. Right? You don't want to be that person.
No. Simple as tire pressure gauge. Should be in everybody's glove box. Just check the tire pressures. It's really, really important.
And it's written on the side of the tire. You know what you should have, and also in your car
This
manual,
is how
right?
I'm going to correct you.
Okay.
It is written on the side of the tire, but always go by the placard that's on the side of the car.
Inside your car.
Inside your car. If you can't find it inside your car, it's going to be on the owner's manual.
Yeah.
Because the number that's on the tire is actually the specification for the tire
itself,
the
not
car,
on your car.
Correct. The car will be a different specification. That's very important, and lots of times they're different front to back.
Right, and so a lot of times you can see it just on the inside of your door there. It's written, or wherever.
If it's a newer car, say 07 or up, it's been standardized, it's there, but on some of the foreign cars, Volvos for instance, it may be inside the gas door.
Oh,
it could be in one of the back doors.
Wow.
So
you have to look for it.
Yeah, so you have to look for it, or it's in the owner's manual.
And your car actually, fuel efficiency is way better when your car is properly balanced and you have enough air in your tire, right?
Huge, yes.
So that, if anything, do it for that reason, right?
Especially at $1.25 a liter.
Exactly.
Yes, it's very important.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, so moving on from tires, a lot of times people are not taking care of, say, even windshield wipers. People let them go forever in a day.
Oh, we see all kinds of wiper blades, and they do crazy things. We call them raw strips of bacon. I mean,
but that's happening, right? So you know that's going across your window and it's doing this? It's
right. But what happens is that'll eventually come right off, and then people think, oh, it still works. Visibility, if you can't see.
But you don't realize it until you need it.
Right.
And then you're in trouble.
Especially at this time of year with the winter when you got salt and stuff. That's where it's really important to make sure that your washer fluid's topped up.
Because you were literally, using that fluid on a constant basis.
Yep.
The sun shines on your window and you have zero visibility.
And I've got 2 women at home. I always make sure that each of their cars has 2 jugs in it, okay? One full, one that they're topping up all the time. Doesn't take up much room.
No,
you can use one of those milk jug holders in your trunk so it doesn't fall over.
Exactly.
Okay?
Yep.
But it is really important.
And again, very cost effective and handy to have. You just pull over, fill it up, and it's so easily to
You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so next, where should we move? What direction should we go? Oil? Should we do an oil change? Should an oil
Well,
test?
we're not going to change the oil,
No,
but let's check the oil.
Let's just check the oil.
You're very ambitious if you're going to change your own oil. And there's no problem with that.
But stay on top of it, right? Because sometimes people think that, okay, I don't have to go, say, depending on what type of car you drive, I don't have to go in for a year, but they just leave it and never check it.
That's the absolute truth. And a lot of the foreign cars have gone to yearly service. General Motors has gone to biannual service. A lot of them have gone to an oil change light. It'll come up and say service now.
Let you know, yeah.
In the meantime, at least every other tank of fuel, if the car's got a couple of 100,000 kilometers on it, maybe more often, check the oil. Okay?
Okay.
The longer the oil's in there, the less additives package that's in there, and it wears out a little faster.
Okay.
BMW that's behind you, you could go 1 year to an oil change.
You can push them.
Very specific oil. It's a little more expensive, but they do last. But it still could consume oil. You won't know unless you check it. Right,
and you don't want to. Well, obviously, a car needs oil, so you don't want to. you don't want to do that to an engine, do you?
Cars are really expensive to begin with.
Yes.
Okay. And they're really expensive to repair.
Right.
Okay, so no, just simple checking your oil.
Simple check, right?
Just pull the dipstick out, wipe it off the first time, and then check it again. And of course, this has to be done while it's not running.
Right.
Okay, and then just check. And this oil's nice and clean, and it's right where it should be.
Where it should be. That was one of the first things my dad taught me when I learned how to drive was That was the number one. Don't blow up my car. So you know.
See, years ago, cars used to burn oil, and now we've got away from it. There still are, you know, vehicles, and we have vehicles that have hundreds of thousands of kilometers. Like we have 3 or 4 that have a 500,000 kilometers on them. You know what? They don't burn oil. But we've also got vehicles that have got 100,000 kilometers that were leased and weren't maybe maintained properly.
Exactly.
And they burn oil.
Right. Right.
But you don't know unless you check it.
Right. Okay.
Just have a very quick visual. I mean, I've got a couple of old belts here.
Yeah, these are key to look at. I think a lot of people don't think to look at their belts.
You can't always see them. I have to be very honest.
In some places, some cars you can't now.
You can't see them.
Yeah.
And in the future, we'll probably have vehicles that don't have belts. If you have a new Prius, it doesn't have a belt on it anymore.
Right.
But I mean, you can see that one's coming apart. Ultimately, this one's been broken. I mean, that was just a little too far with that belt.
Wow.
But if you start to see cracks on them like that, you know, that's bad. So
again, it's rubber. It eventually dries out, right? And it starts to...
It does. And it's actually the ozone in the air that breaks them down. So just a visual inspection of that kind of thing. All of the levels in this particular case, most stuff's marked, but I mean, you can see that needs a little tiny bit of antifreeze.
Right.
Not much, but it does.
Right.
Washer fluid's fairly straightforward. Antifreeze is one of those difficult things. Just look at the overflow jug unless it's cool, because it is hot. Okay?
And that's the thing. I think sometimes what maybe scares, if we're going women specific here, sometimes females are afraid. They're like, okay, what were the rules again? What am I supposed to check when the engine's off? What's supposed to be cool with? Obviously, everything is just a little bit better if your car is cool first, and then, then you're just...
Cool and off.
Cool
okay?
off.
But just remember, the car's got an owner's manual. Look in the owner's manual.
Yeah.
It's very specific and will tell you how to do that. If a light pops on the dash, look it up. Some of them are just low oil, you know, like low washer fluid, or that you have a burned out light. But lights are another thing that are really important. You see tons of cars driving around with burned out brake lights or burned out headlights.
Because people aren't looking at the rear end of their car often enough,
well, we always joke, the lights are out when I get back there, right? Okay?
That's true.
Sometimes you have to get a friend or a co-worker or your spouse or significant other.
As they're waving goodbye saying, uh-oh.
You've got a brake light out or a headlight.
Yeah.
And headlights are, again, very important, especially this time of year with the salt that gets on them. Just wipe them off. When you're getting up, when you're getting gas, just take the mop and mop them off.
And that's key. You don't even think, right? You think, oh, it's still going to be able to shine through properly. But, I mean, we're having enough layers of salt right now on our cars and mud, as you say, that it can actually, you know. It
definitely affects your vision at night. And especially through the winter months when the days are shorter and the nights are longer, the majority of your driving can be done in the darkness. So that is very important.
And one last tip, we were saying, you know, coming in for an oil change, if anything, will just help you get an overall maintenance check on your vehicle, because you guys spot things along the way.
Right, and this is a perfect example. That's not supposed to be a part like that. That's a separated ball joint, and the wheel on the vehicle, they actually lost their steering on that.
Wow.
Okay, and we had to get it towed in. Now, could that have been caught on regular maintenance? Probably, maybe not, but you know what? That's where you see some stuff in regular maintenance that you don't always see, such as a leak underneath, where you're not paying attention to that or checking your tire pressures.
Well, Jeff, thank you so much. Again, Eccles Auto Shop, you guys have been here forever. Everybody knows your reputation and trusts you downtown here in Dundas, and it's a good spot, and you guys are great. So thank you
very much.
Good information. We'll be back with more TERRA at Home.
Live color fully at TERRA, where color lives.
You've sat under them and built forts in them. You've swung from them and fell out of them. You've even fallen in love under them. Trees have always held a special place in our hearts and memories. A natural beauty, trees will grow with you and your family and bring color and nature into your world. For your assurance of quality, look for trees and shrubs with the Medallion plant tag. Medallion plants, locally grown, the pride of Niagara.
Welcome back to TERRA at Home. We are in Dundas this morning at You'd Never Know Bakery, a gluten-free bakery, because you would actually never know when you walk in here. We're here with Rhonda Barr. We've known for so many years now, and we were here again this time last year, but you have come so far again, as you always do. You're always a mover and shaker. And again, just talking about gluten-free products and where it began and to where it is now, more and more people are going that direction.
A lot more, yeah. What's interesting is there's a book out there called Wheat Belly. I don't know if you've heard it.
Yes.
I want to send that guy a basket of food. He's got me so many customers.
After you read that book, you said, okay.
I know. It's really becoming a lifestyle, more of a lifestyle than necessarily a medical issue. I get a lot of people in here that are coming in and saying, I've just read Wheat Belly and can I please start buying the food? So we've got a big customer base that's actually expanding quite large to the point where we're actually going to supply Hamilton Health Science.
That is a big, major congratulations to you. And that kicks in the next few weeks where literally all of the health sciences in and around our area, when we were in it, we were in the Mecca, all these little prepackaged foods will be in all their cafes and cafeterias in the hospitals. So
yeah, each one of them now.
Easy access for people.
It's really easy and it's a single. We've just changed our packaging to have a single, but now this is only going to be in the hospitals, not in the bakery here.
Right.
But we have anything from muffins. We're going to do 4 different types of muffins, the carrot, the apple, the healthy fruit and nut, which is actually really good because it's for diabetics as well.
The nice balance of low glycemic.
This actually has no sugar, no honey. The sweetness comes from the fruit, apples, bananas, and dates. So pretty cool.
Very good.
We're going to do an assortment of cookies. We're going to do our brownies. We're going to do date squares. Then some savory things as well that we've come up with. One is a 2-pack on sausage roll.
And you have them, some of them here that are the smaller bite-sized ones, and I had one. Oh my goodness, how good are those?
Oh, thank you, thank you.
They're so good, so good.
This is going to be, so grab a fast lunch. We've got a little 2-pack of the broccoli cheddar quiche. We're going to be doing our organic turkey lasagna as well.
Oh, lovely.
The Asian Thai salad, and also our quinoa salad. Now, quinoa is awesome because for celiacs in particular, they have a really big concern with enough fiber and enough protein.
Yes, so I hear.
Yeah, this is a super grain. This
so
is
it's going to help
very
you balance
helpful.
that out a little bit.
Very much so, yeah. And plus, it tastes delicious. It's
well, that's
really
the thing.
nice.
And quinoa is just naturally that way, right? So I mean, that's just such a great salad. I love to eat that. And you're hearing more and more about quinoa. People are more familiar with it now. They're not afraid of it. They know, hey, this is protein and fiber, and it's going to give me all the good things that I need.
Exactly.
So I mean, besides I mean, that accomplishment is amazing because now people recognize that your food tastes good, and I think that is the big step. From years and years ago, when celiacs had to look for gluten-free products, it was hard to find. They were either hard, rock heavy, and they just didn't really taste good. But you've managed to figure out sort of the chemistry onto making all this food taste amazing.
Yeah, magic blend.
Yeah, the magic blend, right?
Magic
flour blend that you've come up with on your own, and you've literally, from that point, expanded your product line to basically you can eat your entire lifestyle can completely change to be gluten-free.
You can actually do that for sure, but one thing we're going after too is the home cook because it is a very expensive way to eat for sure. The ingredients cost more and the home cook can't always afford it when you got a big family. Sure. So we sell our flour blends that you can make stuff yourself. I have a cooking show that I teach how to cook gluten-free, which makes it nice and easy. We have another cookbook that's coming out. So we try to help a lot of people. They come in here quite often picking our brains.
I can imagine. Lots of questions, right?
Lots and lots of questions. We've actually just, I've gotten really active in social media, which is not me, this year.
Everyone finds that point where they have to just give in, right?
Yeah, so I started January 4th and it's incredible how fast it grows. It's exponential. It's just like this big snowball effect. So you get to a point, I think it's 400 people that have to be your exclusive followers, and then you get to offer these free coupons and all these really cool things.
Neat.
So we're just at that level now. So like the first thing we're going to do is have, like, for example, a draw, very transparent, for a loaf of bread that you come in once a week. You get a loaf of bread for a year.
Oh, that's awesome.
For every single week you come here.
Isn't that great? And that's the thing, your breads taste great.
You know what? You don't have to toast them.
You don't how cool is that? You don't have to. And that was the thing, right? Everybody would just, if you always had to toast like the gluten-free bread to make it kind of taste a little bit better, but you don't have to do that.
Well, one of the issues, and especially when you're starting to eat this way, that you have to look at is read your labels. Really important. And one of the things, if it says white rice flour, just drop it and walk away. 2 things, it's nutritionally dead. So it's giving you nothing, high in carb, and that grittiness that you get when you eat gluten-free food, that's coming from the rice flour. So you got to pay attention to that. If you're going to use rice flour, sometimes you have no choice to get a texture. Definitely use the brown if you're going to cook yourself.
At least you're getting some fiber in there. Some
exactly. So, and the other thing is there's different gums out there. Like when you cook gluten-free, you lose the elastic, so you got to bring that back in. And there's different things, I call them bumpers. So I'll use egg replacer, not in replacement of the egg, but just to lift it up again. I'll use vinegar in my cooking, so just give it another bumper. I'll use xanthan gum. Now, there's a few different gums out there. There's guar gum, which is an inferior product. Yeah, that's the one that gives you that really bad aftertaste and a coating on your tongue again. And that's, to me, I say, you know, garbage in, garbage out. So you pay more for the ingredients that you're doing. You get the quality with it. The end result, you taste it.
But I mean, again, if people are making these choices to shift to gluten-free eating, even again as a choice, then you know, you're obviously starting to look at and respect what you're putting in your mouth and what you're putting in your body, because as you say, so maybe, you know, it is what you get what you pay for.
You are what you eat, and sometimes it comes down to people getting very sick before they realize that I need to make a life change. And some people will come in and they'll think, oh my God, that's outrageous. What are you charging for a loaf of bread? But that's the ingredients that are going in it. And you don't think twice, you know, when you go to the hairdresser, get your hair done, or go out for a nice dinner. But when it comes to your health, I know sometimes you got to be smacked in the face, and then you wake up to it.
I know it is kind of funny that way, and that in health, if we don't have that, we don't have anything, right? So you can't go get your hair done. So these are the things that we need to make. I mean, we look at the product line that you have, and again, you've had people come in here and not realize it's a gluten-free bakery, and just buy and walk away and love it, and not have a clue, right? So you have everything from pastas, and now getting into these home-baked. I like these home-baked products. This is really cool.
Thank you. This we came up with at Christmas time, and this is really awesome because you have people drop by and you want to have an hors d'oeuvre. What can you do? This is like from raw to bake, from frozen.
So that's
25 minutes. That's right here. And you know what? You're going to feed it to anybody, and you'd never know. It just tastes normal. So that's a nice little hors d'oeuvre. And we've also got who doesn't like cinnamon buns, right? Yeah. So it's a 6-pack. A little trick with this: you can stick it into a cupcake. If you want one a day, go ahead. But just keep in mind one thing. Gluten-free isn't a diet of losing weight.
Yes.
People say that, and no, you know what? A cupcake's a cupcake.
Right.
You eat a cupcake a day, you're going to get fat.
So you can't get yourself silly on this stuff. You still have to be practical and smart. But again, you're just pulling out the gluten in it. And again, it's just a good alternative for people that are trying to change their lifestyle a little bit. So thank you, Rhonda, for allowing us in your shop again. And congratulations on Hamilton Health Sciences accomplishment. So anytime you go in the hospital, you're in there visiting your friends, wherever you may be, you can go to the cafe and grab one of these, and it's a good try. So you guys are actually down here, right downtown Dundas. You're kind of at this little
King and Coots.
Yeah,
people get confused. Yeah,
I know,
this is actually
but it's here.
King.
Yeah. So thank you, and the kitchen smells oh so good. You got to come try it. That's it for now. We'll have more TERRA at home after this.
Come and explore the new TERRA, where color lives.
You've sat under them and built forts in them. You've swung from them and fell out of them. You've even fallen in love under them. Trees have always held a special place in our hearts and memories. A natural beauty, trees will grow with you and your family and bring color and nature into your world. For your assurance of quality, look for trees and shrubs with the Medallion plant tag. Medallion plants, locally grown, the pride of Niagara.
Welcome back to TERRA at Home, and we are again using the lovely kitchen at the Millcroft LCBO in Burlington. We're back with Chef Rachel, and we are now the weekend before Valentine's. So some people kind of pick and choose throughout the week what day they're going to celebrate. Valentine's, of course, being on Thursday this year. But you have another great recipe idea for us.
Yes. So I call these chocolate mocha tarts. Okay, so they're just a little kind of decadent dessert with some espresso, coffee. You can use some liqueur in there too if you want. It's a nice recipe.
Sounds nice.
So we'll start off, first of all, let's make a chocolate ganache. Okay, so we're just using dark chocolate chips or whatever you have, as long as it's dark chocolate.
Yeah, the dark chunks. Makes it, it's better, right? I find if you're using milk chocolate, it's almost too sugary sweet, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot.
This is a nice, richer flavor.
Okay, so let's just put this on, and we just want to put this on low.
Okay.
And we can do this right on the heat here in the pot because we have the cream in there.
Because you have a liquid in there, right?
So it's not going to really burn as easily as it would if it was just the chocolate in there. So we just want to keep an eye on this, though, like usual, and give it a mix every once in a while. But that's going to make a nice, dark chocolate ganache.
I think I'd just eat that on its own. Just spread it on toast.
It is very good.
That'd be really good.
And easy to do. It's basically almost equal parts chocolate to 35% cream.
Oh my gosh.
And
then you go to the gym.
Yeah.
All right, hey, you know it's that time of year. We're allowed to have some sweets, some decadent, right?
So moving on, I'm going to explain the phyllo to you. So I make these, the phyllo tarts. So these are big. I do them in a muffin tin. I like to do those mini too. So I have a mini muffin tin at home. You do the same thing, and to push it into the mini muffin tin, you can have bite-sized tarts. So whatever size you prefer.
I like that idea because I think a lot of times when people are thinking of tarts, they panic because they think of, oh my goodness, I have to make pastry, and that all of a sudden just turns people off a little bit. But this, when you're using the phyllo, it's actually way easier.
It is. It is because you buy the phyllo, it comes frozen, and so you want to thaw it. And when you're not using it, you know, cover it with a cloth because it does dry out. So it's starting to dry out a little bit.
If it dries out, can you bring it back? Can you add moisture to it, or is it kind of done once it dries out?
It's pretty much done once it dries out, in my experience anyway. So cover it with a damp cloth. This is a little dry now, but that's okay. I'll just show you how we do it. And it's really simple. So like I said, you buy this, you want it to be thawed out, and I usually like to do about 4 layers. So this is 2 sheets because we don't need very much. I'm just going to actually break it in half, and it breaks quite easily when it's at this state. But normally you can just cut it.
Right.
And we'll do 4 layers like this.
Okay. So basically, this is just a warm butter that you're putting on here, right?
Yes. Yep. Just melted butter. So we'll just do this quickly. Like I said, it's an easy thing to work with.
Okay.
But it is very, very thin. So sometimes it's a little...
It can tear.
Yes.
But again, this is actually just great to know this because you can also make savory tarts from this.
Yes.
So once you learn how to do the tarts, then it's just really easy. It's a tart shell.
There's so much that you can do with this phyllo pastry. You can make rolls and triangles and little pouches and basically fill it with anything.
Yeah, that's right. It's good for creating appetizers. So you can fill it with feta cheese and, you know, do like the Greeks do.
Okay, so this is my 3rd layer here.
Okay.
And then the top layer we won't put butter on the top layer.
Okay.
We'll just finish it off.
So basically, again, as you're saying, you're just going to cut this, and you can push it down inside. And how long did you say you put it in the oven for?
Oh, so it doesn't go in the oven for very long, maybe 6 minutes or so.
Okay.
Watch it. I find,
it burns quickly, doesn't it?
It really does. The difference between, 30 seconds to a minute really
right. So you can see how it's just like a nice brown. But yeah, it can really go over the top.
Yeah, it can. So just keep an eye on it. But usually 350, it takes anywhere from 5 to 7 minutes, and just cut them into big squares and then push them right in.
That's awesome.
So really simple, and then obviously a little bit of a smaller square if you're doing it in the mini tins. But really easy to work with, and again, you can do so many things.
You can. That's a great. That's just a great starter for anything.
Okay, so let's mix this chocolate. So it's starting to melt, so you can see it getting darker. Just keep your eye on it, and then we will do the mocha part of the dessert next.
That's nice, and of course we know how well a coffee flavor tastes with chocolate. It just makes sense. It works. So why not, right?
Yeah. So in a small bowl here, I have a couple tablespoons of brown sugar. So put that in. We have some coffee. About a tablespoon of coffee, but like I said, you can also use a coffee liqueur. There's lots of different coffee liqueurs.
Easy too, then, right? So you could also use just instant coffee just to create that, right? Just to create a little bit.
Some espresso grinds, just again to give all those flavors. A little bit of vanilla, and so just mix all this together until the sugar is dissolved in the mixture, and
that's good.
You don't want the espresso to be in chunks.
So what does What do you have there? What is that?
So this is cream cheese.
Oh, that'll be very good.
Yes. So I've just left this at room temperature so it's a little soft, which makes it easier to work with. Sometimes you can buy the already whipped cream cheese, which makes it a little easier as well.
Wouldn't it? Yep.
It's very light and fluffy. Give our chocolate a mix again.
That looks great.
So I use a whisk. It takes a little bit longer with a whisk. If you have a you know, an electric one, it would be a little bit better.
Electric mixer.
But basically, what we're going to do is we're going to whisk this mixture into the cream cheese.
Okay.
Like I said, it's probably going to take a couple minutes just because the cream cheese isn't whipped. But eventually, you'll get a nice smooth mixture that will.
Yeah, just have to be patient.
We'll put on top of the chocolate.
That sounds so good. That's such a great idea. So basically, you're letting these little tarts that we created cool, and they cool pretty quickly.
Yes.
And once we put this all together, which what we'll do is we'll take a break and then we'll come back and we'll add it all in and
show you how it's done.
Sounds pretty straightforward. I like it. All right, we'll be back with more TERRA at home. Just a few.
Live color fully at TERRA, where color lives.
You've sat under them and built forts in them. You've swung from them and fell out of them. You've even fallen in love under them. Trees have always held a special place in our hearts and memories. A natural beauty, trees will grow with you and your family and bring color and nature into your world. For your assurance of quality, look for trees and shrubs with the Medallion plant tag. Medallion plants, locally grown, the pride of Niagara.
Welcome back to TERRA at Home, and we are completing our little chocolate mocha tarts. There we go.
Chocolate mocha tart.
I'm looking at you. Tell me what this is called.
Yeah, no, call it.
Okay.
Call it whatever.
We'll just make things up. All right, so the chocolate is officially melted.
Yep. So it's nice and dark. It's all mixed in well. It's a nice ganache. So you want to let it cool just a little slightly after you take it off the heat. I just took this off, so it's still a little bit hot, but just for purpose of showing you how I do this, once our tarts are cool, we just want to spoon it in. And
I guess you have to be really careful, huh? And also you don't want it running out the sides. You have to make sure, I guess, when you're making these little tarts that you have a little bit of a lip for sure on all sides, or it's just going to be chocolate sauce everywhere, right?
Yeah. So
that's great.
It is a little runny, so just make sure not to pour too much in at once.
I just want to mention, if you want to find this recipe as well, you can go onto our website, terragreenhouses.com, and get all the information on how to make these, which is really, again, straightforward. And of course, you make it so easy the way you. Okay. Oh, we have to put this in. So we mix this.
So yeah, it's all mixed up. It's nice and soft now, and I put it in a piping bag.
Okay.
You can just
that
spoon
means
it on.
I get the rest of this. Thanks, Rachel. Just kidding, that'd be really bad, wouldn't it?
And then just pipe a little bit on top. Now, because the chocolate's still a little hot.
Yeah, so you said you want to let that set before you would do this step normally, right?
Just a little bit, just till it's a little bit cooler.
Now you made these ones over here, and you're, so again, in case you don't have a bag and to pipe it at home, you just dropped it on top with a spoon, so you could do it that way as well.
And it turns out just as nice.
Yeah.
So then what you want to do is you want to put these into the fridge, you know, for at least 30, 45 minutes till they set and they get a little hard. And then if you do them during the day and you let them set overnight, then take them out about 20, 30 minutes before you want to serve them.
Just kind of get to room temperature. So because it is Valentine's, you've decided to add a little
some
addition.
red candy.
Oh, I love it.
Cinnamon hearts are my favorite Valentine's candy.
Yeah, I know, but they look so great, right? It's such a great idea. So again, hopefully this will help give you some ideas from last week's recipe to this week's recipe for Valentine's next week with your loved one, whoever it may be. Have yourself a good Valentine's, and we will see you next weekend. Thanks, Rachel.
Thank you.